I've got the latest XRP Ripple news for you, and we'll talk price action. What happened with Circle's earnings, and what's the effect on the crypto market? Stablecoins, Visa, banks, payments, big updates along with...
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
And CPI data came out this morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Didn't want to cover it because it would be a big nothing burger. Why? Because there's another one happening next month, right before Jerome Powell and the FOMC meeting. What happened with CPI data? Well, here you go. I've got it up on the screen, up 0.2%, shelter is up, blah, 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 blah. It's all linked in the description down below. Now, before we get into the crypto-specific news, look at the screen. Does the screen tell you that anything juicy or bad happened with CPI data? No, it doesn't. Does the screen tell you that I'm having juicy coffee from Guatemala that my daughter made me this morning? No, it doesn't, but this cup sure did. Are you drinking Guatemalan coffee this morning? Well, you freaking should if you haven't. We do your comments. Why? Because you, the viewer, matter most. Uncle Ed says, no more Maxine. I beg of you, no Maxine. If you don't hit the subscribe button, I'll keep putting Maxine and Pocahontas Elizabeth Warren up there. Now, if enough of you subscribe, maybe I'll put Jumblies up on the screen. Ladies, 7% of you watching, if enough of you subscribe, maybe I'll put some early David Hasselhoff up on the screen. Can go both ways. Primetime01 says, we got an XRP at $3.20. Tezos went to $9 on the high. What the XRP should be at $15 minimum. With all it does and all the banks holding it. The IMF is the one that created it and is holding the cards. We gotta talk XRP price. Why? Well, because I got to ask you a question later on in the video. One more comment, and then we get news. Jonathan Bramson, channel supporter. Thank you very much. Says, Klaus, thanks for the first-hand account. I appreciate the analysis. If the banks are going to be this way about crypto adoption, we know they're conservative, wouldn't it be in their best interest to avoid XRP? Look, here's the whole deal, okay? With banks, XRP, and crypto, it's like this. They don't want the consumer to use crypto because it takes out of the bank's profits. But the banks want to use crypto to move money because it saves them money when moving money, okay? It's all about the banks and their profits, okay? When I was in Guatemala recently, enjoying my Guatemalan cup of coffee right here, when I was in Guatemala recently, I learned about what? A stablecoin program where people could move money across border for 99 cents. But the bank doesn't advertise it because the bank would rather sell the product where they could charge people 5, 7, 10% to move money. So do you think a bank would rather make $20, $30 per transaction or 99 cents? It's an obvious answer, right? So the technology is there. XRP is one of those technologies. XLM is one of those technologies where you can move money across borders for very, very little. The problem is what, everyone? Banks don't want to give up their profits. So we got to find more ways to let the consumer know that there's ways to save money, but we also have to find ways where the banks can use it to benefit them and benefit the consumers. Well done. Bitcoin's in at 119,029. We need BTC to make another roar to move the markets. ETH getting close to that 4,400 mark. Are they going to take the alt with it? We'll talk price action at the end. XRP at 318. HBAR 25-cent mark. All right. I know a lot of you out there in the comments have been saying, bro, I buy HBAR sub 25 cent. Do you buy HBAR sub 25 cent? I think I could go more aggressive than that. I think for me, my HBAR target, way more aggressive, 23 cents or lower. Stablecoins gain critical mass after the Genius Act cements rules. Banks and companies rush to register new coins. A range of major banking and financial companies are set to introduce their own cryptocurrency stablecoins backed by the US dollar because of the signing of the Genius Act. The idea is that these institutions could leverage cryptos and stables as an alternative payment method, using them for faster, convenient cross-border payments and saving them money. Again, they don't want the consumer to save money because they want to make money. But if they can make money, boom shakalaka. Now let's keep learning. Visa sees stablecoins as massively expanding its opportunities. So again, companies like Visa, they don't want to lose their profits, but for all like the transactions. So like when I travel, right? I use my debit card and I use El Efectivo, cash for you gringos and gringas out there, right? So for me, whenever I use my debit card, I do pay a little bit of a transfer fee. It's not much. But the reality is my bank makes money on that international transfer fee. Now, I could use crypto, no big deal, but a lot of places I go to take BTC only, and I'm not a BTC maxi, right? So it doesn't really help me out much. But Visa's like, yo, is there a way that we could use stables behind the scenes where I wouldn't know it? It would save them money, but they could still charge me the fee. So you got Visa and other players out there looking to get into stables. Now, this is where stuff gets juicy. Why? Because Circle just reported their first earnings. We're going to get into that because it's very important. This is what Visa said. This is just another mechanism for value exchange. I see it massively expanding our addressable market. The Bloomberg report says many analysts see stablecoins as a potential opportunity for Visa and not as a threat. Stablecoin payments are in theory cheaper than card fees. They most definitely are. They still require services such as fraud prevention. Trick can tell us about that because he's got some family involved in that. Dispute resolution and compliance checks along with connections to bank payment rails and fiat currency conversion. Visa, the report continues, wants to serve as a bridge as the flow of money shifts, using its infrastructure to help make stablecoins more the mainstream for merchants and consumers. So Trump signs in a stablecoin bill, stablecoin players go bonkers, banks and payment players like Visa get hardcore into stablecoins. How does this tie in to the rest of the crypto market? Well, think about it. When Congress comes back after vacation, they're going to be discussing what? Market structure bill, regs for the rest of the crypto market. So once we get those regs, you're going to see a whole bunch of programs come in that benefits them. Continue. They're going after the land grab of empowering every possible stablecoin platform with payment capability. This is a really big opportunity. So we've seen once the regs get signed in, the players jump into the water. That leads us to Circle. A lot of players expected Circle to lose per share. Circle stock soars after quarterly revenue beats estimates. So a lot of players in the traditional markets were saying, yo, Circle ain't going to be able to do shit this first quarter that they're publicly reporting. Well, guess what? Circle beat their expectations. So even traditional finance was thumbing their nose at Circle saying, nah, it's all a lot of hype. No, girlfriend, stablecoins aren't. Listen to this. The company posted a quarter two revenue of $658 million versus the expected $647 million. CEO Jeremy Allaire said the company's stablecoin USDC was the fastest growing major stablecoin over the past year. USDC, the core of our stablecoin network, has grown to 61.3 billion as of June 30th and has accelerated into quarter three, the one we're in now, to 65.2 billion in circulation, a 90% year-over-year growth. So again, regs are bringing growth. So if you're wondering why we're flat right now in the alts, seeing minimal growth, okay, of usage, of adoption, not necessarily of price action, it's because we don't have the regs yet. Everyone, we're going to be getting the regs third and fourth quarter of this year. What happened to Circle's stock price? Well, we saw that. Pumperoni on huge optimism. Remember, it released at $31, got near 300. Now they took some profits. Now we're leveling right out in the mid 100s, right? 150, 160, 170 in that range right there, okay? So stables are freaking huge. Now, a lot of you out there have been like, well, wait a minute. Why are so many players, though, choosing BTC and ETH? Well, the majority of stables right now are found in ETH. 51% are found on ETH. BTC is big in payments. I travel a lot. Everywhere I frickin' go, it's BTC for payments. BTC for payments. Central America, BTC everywhere. Mexico, BTC everywhere. You go to tech-savvy places out in the West Coast, BTC everywhere. So we need the alts to get those regs. So you kind of see regs are super important. ETH, golden pass. BTC, golden pass. That's why regs in September are so big. That's why we have to see if we can get them passed quickly. Now, let's keep learning. Ripple, SEC case, right? A lot of you out there are like, bro, I have been let down. I thought once the case was over, we would start mooning. Well, guess what I have for you linked in the description below? A poll. Were you expecting more price action from the conclusion of the Ripple SEC case? I have three choices. First one, yes. The prices should have been higher. No, this small bump was expected. We got about a 10% bump. We've eroded about half of it. And the third one was meh, the price action was baked in. Let me know down below because I'm not baked currently at the morning. I plan to be. Thank you very much. And maybe you should plan to be too. Happy Tuesday. That being said, it's all linked down below. Vote. I want to know how you feel. The reality is, though, there was some expectation of more The market was expecting more, and you could see it with the price action, the reaction of XRP on this news. You could see it right here. We had a big bump up to 335 and change, 10% plus on the announcement. We've eroded a good chunk of it. But remember, we don't have the regs. Look at the articles I shared with you this morning. Stablecoins gaining critical mass. Visa and banks wanting to get into stables. Circle beats expectations, right? The majority of stables are launched on ETH. ETH with the golden pass, right? Ripple, not getting as much love, right, with the case. Why? Because we still don't have the regs for the rest of the market. We still don't know what's a security and what's not. And I know, bro, you're saying, I get it. Torres said, this is a security, not a security, blah, blah, blah. That's Torres's interpretation. You still have to look at things and go, well, wait a minute. What is the law by Congress? Because that's what matters. Not a judge's interpretation, but the laws written by Congress. That's what really matters in los Estados Unidos. Okay? The big deal here is the regs. So right now, XRP, the rest of the altcoin market, this blob up here on the screen, needs the reg-a-ronies, you jabronis. Overall in the crypto market, volume still healthy, 189 billion. Altcoin season, 33 out of 100. Are big still spending money? Yeah, they are. Look at this. Inflows. Pay attention to this, everyone, okay? Because remember I talked about it in the beginning of the video. ETH making a move. Look at it. ETH close to 4,400. Look at the inflows. ETH 1+ billion in inflows yesterday, while BTC only had 178 million. So ETH 5x plus the inflows compared to BTC. The day before, ETH had more inflows. So you're seeing now the market favor ETH. So you're seeing money rotate more into ETH. So first we had the BTC rotation. Now we're having the ETH rotation. Does that mean the alts are next? Boy, the timing seems very suspicious and positive towards our end, because guess who's getting regs next? That's right, it's us. Sliding it on over to XRP, volume healthy, up 13% to 8.3 billion. Price action, look, we've already beaten it to death like a dead horse with the wet noodle, whatever the damn phrase is. As long as we hold north of 3, we feel good. Did we lose the majority of the price action with the SEC case? Yes, we did, but I want to hear from you. Were you expecting more? Was this what you expected, or was the price action already baked in? The reality is what, everyone? You really want XRP to move? You really want players to start using XRP? You really want that price action to be hot? We need the regs just like the stablecoins got. And that, everyone, should be happening in September when Congress comes back from their 1-month vacation. Must be nice, because I don't take a month off. Hell, I don't even take days off when I travel. I bring you the news in the morning, and then I get on the plane, travel. Sipping my Guatemalan mocha coffee, extra milk. Check it out, it's my anteater cup. It's the mom anteater and the baby anteater on the back. When I was at La Aurora Zoo, they actually had the mom and the baby anteater there, and the mom was actually carrying the baby around on its back just like this. And I went to San Martin. You could see it right here in the cup. I don't want to spill. I went to San Martin and Zona Quattro, got this cup, got the coffee, super tasty. Go there. I'm going back to Guate, everyone. Sorry. I'll stop pimping Guate. Reality is this. You get regs, you get money. Altcoins get regs, they'll get money. That's what we gotta wait for. And we gotta see if it happens cleanly or not. The Clarity Act itself isn't gonna happen clean. We already heard from the Senate and the White House, right? Which is the other two branches that have to sign off on regs, saying, look, the Clarity Act just isn't enough. Not too beaucoup. It's pequeño. Not beaucoup, pequeño. So they're gonna build on that, all right? It's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some schmoozing. But when it happens, money will flow in. 401k. So we've got some catalysts. You see what I'm saying here? And that's exactly what we need right now. The proof is in what? The proof is in the frickin' stable coins. Over the last how many months I've been reporting to you, this company is doing stable coins. This one's launching stable coins. Stablecoin volume at all-time high. Stablecoin market cap at all-time high. Stablecoin profit at all-time high. Visa wanted to do stablecoins. This bank wanted to do it's all been stablecoins. Why? Because the regs have been there protecting it. Now, the alts have had success, but they've had success without regs. And remember, Torres's interpretation of the law is just that. It's an interpretation. The real protection comes from new laws written in the books. This is me writing laws, okay? That comes from Congress. Executive orders, again, can be overridden by the next president. Other judges can interpret laws differently than Taurus. So again, that's soft. The hard stuff comes from Congress. That's what we're waiting for right now. So the fact that we're north of $3 for XRP is awesome because we don't have full guidance yet. The fact that we're north of $3 with XRP without getting rate cuts, without getting ETFs is awesome because we still have lots of bullish news to come. But were you expecting more with the SEC case conclusion? Let me know in the vote down below. I'm going to finish up my cafe. Hold on. Oh, that's good. And I'm not even a coffee guy, but I might be after hanging out in Guade for a while. That's right, I'm going back in a couple months, baby. Expect the market to roar then. CPI data, big flop. That's why I didn't cover it. Why? Because there's another one next month right before Jerome Powell and the Fed meet. See, I saved you some action. Choo-choo what? Choo-choo, you jabronis.